Hello, for me it's a pleasure to be with you today, and I welcome you to visit our city. Plovdiv is probably the oldest city in Europe. It was established 5,000 years before Christ. We have a lot of cultural heritage and a lot of things that you can see. We are surrounded with mountains, and even in winter, in a distance of 30 kilometers, you have a good condition for skiing. So welcome. And now it's time to start with our pilot area in the oh, I can move on slides. Okay. So the goal of our pilot was to raising awareness of the impact on the traffic on air pollution and seasonal variation of particular matter 10, because we are surrounding with mountains, and because of the low incomes of the households during the heating season, they use the solid fuels for heating, and air quality is bad in the winter time. So we met several challenges, but the biggest one was that we need to work with the limited number of the sensors, because the bigger part of the sensors that was used in the project work with Internet of Things network, and such a coverage is not possible in Bulgaria. So our efforts was changed, and we adapt to the new conditions. For the inclusion, we decided to include the elderly people and students in our experiments. And the second challenge was when we have a limited number of the sensors, how to include more participants in the project, and how to stimulate the participants to use digital tools that are based on data from the sensors. So we have two groups of participants, students in the age between 10 and 14, and elderly people. So it's need a different approach to attract them for the participation and to keep their interest. When we test the first devices, the sensors are working and they measure, but can send the data. So it's not possible to see the data. And each of the participants wants to see their personal data, how they contribute to the project, and to ensuring the more data about the air quality, and of course what is the air quality in their surroundings. The Telegram version 2 sensors that are better also use the same network, and it was not possible to use them. So we changed to the older one version, but with some exception, but it's better to have something than do not use anything. And how to solve all these things, because we have a limited number of the sensors, 10 do-it-yourself sensors, we organize an exchange campaign with the volunteers, and also organize periodically raising awareness campaign that, and trying to introduce the preliminary results to different audiences, to the audiences, to academia, citizens, students, local authority. And when we organize online workshops, everyone is welcome on the sessions. And we create a specific approach for the different age group and the stakeholders. because students are very enthusiastic and showed a great interest to do something, to assembling the devices. When we do the same thing with their parents, so the parents first start to look carefully on the manual and then assembling the devices. But the elderly people or that person, they read very carefully the manual, and they was afraid to assembling the devices, even when we tell them that there is no way to do something wrong. They afraid to assembling the device, and they prefer to have something already assembled and ready to use than to assemble it by themselves. It's hard to use the digital tools with the limited sensors and data, but we try to demonstrate the tools during our events to visualize the measurements. We give links to the volunteers to the platform, and they can monitoring the measurements, and we give a personal task to some specific to some of the participants. For example, because our audience is students, and it's not fair to give one device to one person because the family is from the LSES. We decided to ask the director of the schools and the teachers if in the class is students from the families of LICS groups, for example, with 3 and more children, if there is if a single parents and another criteria, and we give them a specific test. For example, you can see one boy that two boys that explain to the other students how to use the digital tools. So for them, the personal task was to understand how these tools works and to present to the other students. This is the visit. They take a different. You can see how they take a different parts and just look. They don't want to assemble to put together. So they need a personal meeting and a regular communication. If the sensors stop work or something like this, they need an explanation, and it's very hard to make a picture of the elderly persons. This is the only one family that was agreed to make and disseminate the picture. So for the students, it's very easy to attract them, and it's enough to give them something to do. We organize assembly of devices in two classes, and you can see that they use a manual to put all the parts on the manual. They didn't need a manual for the assembling of devices. This is the only one picture that I have of the open and not covered with parts manual. We disseminate also the results. And for example, you can see on the left part, the traffic intensity, and the highest intensity is in the morning because all the students go to the school. And some of them finish on a lunchtime, and the biggest part of the students finished in the afternoon. And the concentration of the nitrogen dioxide, you can see that the biggest concentration in blue is the concentration measured in the working days, and in green is in not working days. So the highest concentration of NO2 was measured with the highest intensity of the traffic at the same time. And with the no working days, you can see that the traffic starts a little bit later than usual. And also we compare the concentration of particular matter, and there is no such a big difference in the hours than in the nitrogen dioxide. And the reason is because the particulate matter, the origin of the particulate matter is not burning of the fuels. It's resuspended dust and some other influences of other activities. So our results, we organize a lot of workshops, online workshops with different audience to present the results, some of the results that we have a data, workshops for the student for different audience. In two schools, in two primary schools, two different schools in the city, we installing a mobile laboratory for measurement of the air quality, and all of the students can visit the mobile laboratory and to understand more about the equipment, how it works, and if they have a question, just to ask us. Also, we organizing do-it-yourself sensors assembling. On the left side, you can see again the elderly persons. On the bottom with the parents of some of the students, and assembling of devices in the two different classes on the right side. And of course, our last event, we was very proud. We organized a diathon for students. It was held on 22nd of April on the Earth Day. And on the left side, you can see the 22nd of April. The second picture is Earth. It's Zemlya in Bulgarian. And of course, compare, but because we don't have so many participants, we just create three letters, and some of the materials that was created from the students, 3D models, some brochures, leaflets, a lot of PowerPoint presentation, even poems, essays, and posters. It was very, very great event. Our recommendation to because we received a lot of questions about the sensors, about some problems, about the noise that somebody hears. So it's very important to have one person that can answer all the questions that we received. And the second one is to build the trust with the volunteers, and to and need to be always honest, to respect them, and to answer all of the questions. Children are more enthusiastic about participation in the project and to implement some activities. And it's good to use their enthusiasm to motivate the other participant. If one kid can do something, so why you can do the same? And when we talk the reliability of the data, the local authorities and academia wants to be sure that the data are calibrated, trusted, reliable. But when we talk the citizen science is and the local sensors, the data are not so reliable, but they can show if there is some problem in the specific area, and we need to be focused on the result, on the trends, not exactly the digits, and how they compare with the national monitoring stations. And it's important also to bring together citizens, academia, and local authorities, because the citizen science project in Bulgaria are not very well known. most of them dedicated to the biodiversity, to make a picture of something or to mapping something, and measuring the air pollution with the personal do-it-yourself sensors. It was very big interest to buy a sensor and to assembling, just to prove that the national authorities and local authorities manipulate somehow the data, and the data from the personal sensors are more reliable than the data from the national stations. So if you bring together the citizens, academia, and local authorities, you can connect them and to create a way for better understanding between them, for better collaboration and actively participation in the citizens, both in the citizen science project and in policy implementation.